Welcome to Creature Guide Live Daily News. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. Today we're going over marine reptiles as well as let's see, rodent eating squirrels and apparently a large carnivorous dinosaur. We're streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. So from Sign News, paleontologists find 170 million year old giant pliosaur fossils. This is from a few years back, but I don't believe I'm familiar with it or with this specific discovery. Paleontologists in Switzerland have unearthed an exceptionally rare fossil jaw of an ancient creature known as a pliosaur. So, pliosaurs in general are not necessarily unheard of from Switzerland. They could be a bit more abundant in certain fossil formations or fossil basins from different parts of adjacent Germany, as well as Belgium, France, occasionally even into the Netherlands, and especially England. But, this is really good to hear. I really wonder what they found. Seems to be one of the larger species. Pliosaurs were a type
How'd they
of
get the person to swim with it?
yeah, that's likely unless they raised it from when it was young, that is likely, and it's well fed, established a pretty good bond with the animal. I think it's very likely. These were not necessarily dumb animals, but just a stranger, scuba diver coming up to a pliosaur, no, it would just be an extra snack. Pliosaurs were a type of short-necked plesiosaur, marine reptiles built for speed compared to their long-necked cousins. Not necessarily depending on the species. I'd say most of pliosaurs in general weren't necessarily very quick species of marine reptiles. In some cases, the smaller plesiosaurs might be much more nimble. And nimble also has to do with more of being maneuverable, so able to take very quick turns. But pliosaurs didn't really need to be. They were going after different species of long-necked plesiosaurs, as well as the ammonites and different species of fish, larger fish in the ocean. So they lived between 220 million years ago, or Triassic period, and 70 million years ago, were mostly found in the prehistoric seas that covered modern day Europe. If we're referring to the pliosaurs, they had a much shorter reign. The plesiosaurs, even then, weren't really showing up until the beginning of the Jurassic period, or somewhere around 202 million years ago. 220 million years ago, there were other lineages of marine reptiles that existed, but more of members of the Sauroptegan lineage of reptiles, and they were quite distantly related to the marine reptiles that would become the different species of long-necked plesiosaurs, the pliosaurs, later the mosasaurs or the ichthyosaurs. So, after the Jurassic, around 202 million years ago, the pliosaurs would exist until somewhere around 100 to 110 million years ago, and then mysteriously disappear. Whereas the long-necked plesiosaurs would exist until the very end of the dinosaurs or the Mesozoic era, around 66 million years ago. So let's see. So it's a life reconstruction of the Auersdorf pliosaur. Seems like Predator X size. Also known as pliosauroids. Pliosaurs were not dinosaurs, but distant cousins of modern turtles. Well, they were also very distantly related to the dinosaurs as well. Also, you could say even the turtles that existed during the Mesozoic era in general, the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, many of them were very distantly related to today's turtles and were not close relatives. There were certain species as you head into the late Cretaceous that were much more closely related to today's turtles, as well as being part of the larger, broad family. But many of the turtles also were marine and not land-based. They didn't really venture into fresh water. That would occur later into the Cretaceous period. Um, they were of a completely different family of reptiles, being the Sauroptegians. So they had four powerful flipper-like limbs, large crocodile-like heads, very distinct from a crocodile. The teeth
I've met
are
some people that had, like, crocodile-like heads.
well, that's concerning. I wonder if they're Egyptian. So, yeah, very distinct, like very conical tooth like teeth or conical shaped like teeth. And crocodilomorphs in general tend to be a bit more similar to theropod dinosaurs, still being quite distinct, but not in the same shape as the pliosaurs. Extremely powerful jaws and enormous teeth that would depend on the species of pliosaur. There were a wide variety of different species, like even Liopleurodon itself, which is one of the more renowned species of pliosaurs, did not necessarily have a very robust jaw. It's not that necessarily didn't have the ability to take out something like a person or many modern mammals of today. Um, but it really wasn't meant for going after larger prey items. Let's see, hunted fish, cephalopod mollusks, and other marine reptiles. They reach lengths of up to 50 feet or 15 meters, which exceeds the size of the largest toothed whales today. Um, it's the sperm whale only about 50 feet. I swear they could reach like somewhere around 60 feet or pushing 17 to 18 meters,
Wait a minute. What
but
about the sperm whale that was fighting with Megalodon?
not him. He was much larger than even the largest of pliosaurs. So, um, pliosaurs were amongst the largest marine animals of their time and were at the top of the food chain, said Dr. Sven Sachs, a researcher at the Natural History Museum Bielefeld. In a new study, Dr. Sachs and his colleagues from Switzerland and Sweden analyzed a partial jaw of a large bodied plesiosaur that lived during the Jurassic period. So I'm guessing, is this referring to that shorter skulled specimen? Um, oh well, let's see. Okay, let's go to, I guess, bringing up one of the long-necked plesiosaur species, Pachymachosaurus. So Pachymachosaurus.
It brought up Pachycephalosaurus.
I think it's because I spelled it wrong. So Pachycostosaurus. So Pachycostasaurus.
Okay, I'm going to give you your favorite snow first.
Okay, so this is unlike any species of marine reptile that's existed. Almost looks like somebody mixed up a diapsid from the Permian period with a temnospondyl amphibian. Um, Maybe a crocodilomorph to an extent, almost like the um, not Proterosuchus. That was beforehand. It's not hitting me. What? Not necessarily Dinosuchus feet. Hmm. But definitely the skull. It almost reminds me of a certain lineage of plesiosaur later on, but at least when it comes to the skull shape. Now the rest of the body is completely off. It looks like a Metriorhynchid though towards the background. Seems to be a youngster. You know what it looks like? Almost like a young prognathodon mosasaur, but that wouldn't occur until the late Cretaceous around 75 to 80 million years ago.
Here's the funny thing. This is actually being used by Dinosaur Pictures and Facts. It
Well,
it
yeah, but
says AI right on it.
yeah, but that's the regular company that hosts these different pictures.
Oh.
Yeah. So, seems to be also going after a ghost shrimp. But besides that, this animal, if it is supposed to be prognathodon and not Pachys Pachycostosaurus, would likely be feeding on very robust species of ammonites. This could be the skeleton of specifically Pachycostosaurus. Originally, it was discovered over in southern Germany back in 1922 by um oh, what was it? I think it was specifically just a team of fossil hunters down in southern Germany, and then the paleontologist Frederick von Huyn took in this specimen and then named it a distinct species of Plesiosaurus. It was like Plesiosaurus van Brachiotis, and then it wouldn't be until much later into the late 1900s that it would have its own genus. Unless I'm mistaking this animal for Hydrorian, which could be the case.
You
Um,
said that in such a depressed manner.
no, no, wait, hold on a second. It might have been somebody else. I think it was somebody named Alan that discovered this. I'm mixing up with Hydrorian, another plesiosaur. The Kycostosaurus is the animal I believe was discovered over in England, and this animal would have roamed the shallow marine coast somewhere around 165 million years ago. So it was found over in the Oxford Formation, which is also where we find animals like Cryptoclitus, another long-necked plesiosaur. Oh, is there another picture of just the like a drawing of this animal? I mean, it's a really good intact skeleton. But we also find Liopleurodon from this location, different members of the Ichthyosaur family, and as well, we even find certain species of dinosaurs that roam this area too. It does have a somewhat shorter neck structure. So it's like one of those slightly more robust species of plesiosaurs. It also has just an overall wider skull in general. I wouldn't call it though too robust when it comes to the skull. I mean, it is wider. Most plesiosaurs tend to, at least during the Jurassic, have a bit of like a small, sort of roundish or ovalish type of skull structure and quite flat. These animals are likely just feeding on smaller species of ammonites and going after different species of fish.
There's nothing on this guy.
It's interesting. I mean, he's rarely, if ever, mentioned. They're not very large plesiosaurs. I mean, even during the Jurassic, they didn't become too large. This animal was somewhere around 13 feet or pushing 4 meters. Um, also, you know what, let's just head back to the article. So let's see. The specimen was collected by the fossil enthusiast Dr. Hans Hohenweg. Okay, yeah, so I did confuse him with the other species. From the Passwang Formation near Auersdorf in the basal land canton of Switzerland. At around 170 million years ago, the Auersdorf jaw represents one of the oldest occurrences of very large pliosaur apex predators in the fossil record, and may have come from an animal that was around 30 feet or 9 meters long, said Dr. Benjamin Kier, a paleontologist at Uppsala University. 30 feet is a decent size for a pliosaur, but it's not the largest. They can exceed a little over 50 feet. We're pushing somewhere around 15 meters, but 9 meters or 30 feet. This animal probably weighed at least 5 to 7 tons. So only the rear section of the Auersdorf jaw was recovered, but it has a total length of 1.6 feet or zero point 0.5 meters. That's just the rear section. So who knows how long this animal, or at least when it comes to the skull, actually would be. Paleontologists estimate that the jaw was approximately 5 feet or 1.5 meters long when complete. I was wondering if this was going to occur. This is like close to the length of larger species of theropod dinosaurs like Giganotosaurus, Mapusaurus that would evolve later on into the beginning of the late Cretaceous around 98 million years ago. Even possibly animals like Acrocanthosaurus, but Acrocanthosaurus, its skull, I believe, was slightly like somewhere around 4.7 to um, maybe 4 foot 11 or pushing somewhere around 1.3 meters. So the Auersdorf pliosaur is the first find of its kind from Switzerland and comes from a geological time frame with a hitherto very sparse fossil record of pliosaurs and their relatives, said Dr. Christian Klug, a scientist at the University of Zurich. So it is quite mysterious with this individual as to what it could possibly be. It hasn't been identified yet as a distinct genus or species, but we do know that it was likely inhabiting the area. It's based on the marine deposits around 170 million years ago, which is before animals such as Ichthyosaurus or Liopleurodon, Cryptoclitus at this point, a wide variety of different marine reptiles. The interesting thing is, you likely would have had over on land animals like Megalosaurus. Okay, let's head over to another part of the Mesozoic. At least I'm assuming. So, from Sci News, new giant carnivorous dinosaur unveiled Siamraptor suatai. Now, this is not necessarily a new species for me. However, I'm guessing it's going to be going over the discovery of this carnivore. So, let's take a look. Paleontologists have announced the discovery of a new genus and species of Carcharodontosaurian dinosaur based on the fossilized remains found in Thailand. So, yes, this is a species of Carcharodontosaur from southeastern Asia. And it seems that this animal was coexisting with different species of sauropod at the time as well. So, this animal existed slightly before different species of more renowned dinosaurs that inhabited North America around 110 million years ago, such as Sauroposeidon, Acrocanthosaurus, Deinonychus, Tenontosaurus. To dub Siamraptor suwatai by its discoverers, the newly discovered dinosaur lived approximately 120 million years ago. So the ancient creature was a member of Carcharodontosauridae, a group of large dinosaurs or large carnivorous dinosaurs from the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. In fact, Siamraptor suwatai is the oldest Carcharodontosaurian dinosaur known, and it is the first of its kind from Southeast Asia. I believe we have possibly found certain species of Carcharodontosaurs in more recent years that are possibly slightly older than Siamraptor, but it's not hitting me at the moment. So, okay, so it was found over in somewhat northeastern Thailand. Is by what's showing over here. So, right in the Kok Kruet Formation. Wow, oh, that's a decent site for Thailand. It is interesting that it's occurring in this type of an area, and usually you're used to seeing like different, like much drier sort of sediments or semi-arid regions. But it can vary. I mean, if you're looking at certain marine deposits, even certain fossil deposits that take place during the Cenozoic era, and they're taking place in like sort of a swamp-like ecosystem where we find a lot of different species of earlier horses, different species of giant herbivorous birds, but they had extremely large beaks, like the diatryma. So all of like the animals that I'm thinking of are coming from Germany, but they evolved somewhere around 55 to 60 million years ago. Earlier members of the elephant family and even different species of mammals that would give rise to wolves, bears, and cats. So the fossilized remains of at least four Siamraptor sawanai individuals. Okay, I did not know that. Skull, backbone, limbs, and hips were recovered from the Kukruat Formation in Nakhon Ratchasima province, Thailand. The fossils were analyzed by Dr. Duong Suda Chok Chow Chalom Wang of Nakhon Ratchasima Ragbat University. That was a mouthful. And her colleagues from Thailand and Japan. So the phylogenetic analyses revealed that Siamraptor suwatai is a basal species of Carcharodontosauridae, involving a new site to the paleobiogeographical context of this group. Siamraptor suwatai is the best preserved Carcharodontosaurian theropod in Southeast Asia, and it sheds new light on the early evolutionary history of Carcharodontosauridae. Hmm. I bet different species or different members of the Carcharodontosaur lineage might want in on this. Considering I'm definitely going to see um, which other species of Carcharodontosaurs are close to the well preservation of this animal. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't seem to have given us a picture of it, or possibly even more well preserved. Let's bring up somebody else though from the land. So the long necked sauropod Sauroposeidon. So Saurop. Oh,
Okay, this one's just funny.
oh, okay. I thought you were going to bring me one of the others. So, Sauroposeidon, it used to be described as a species of Brachiosaurid, but it looks like this animal, it's still a bit of a mystery, but it's more closely related to the Titanosauridae lineage of sauropod dinosaurs. So, simply being described as a titanosaur form. And this animal was first discovered over in Wyoming, I believe, back in 1996 by a dog trainer.
Why, what?
A dog trainer.
Okay.
And she was just walking by, and I think she came upon
She
a
was trying to
few
teach this
vertebrae.
thing? Oh, okay.
Um, so this animal has also been discovered over in different parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and I believe possibly New Mexico or Arizona.
Wait, I found one that mated with a zebra.
I was actually thinking first of a like a certain type of bird that has certain stripes on it. However, you could say that as well. So when it comes to Sauroposeidon, though, they're giving this individual really short legs compared to its body size. This is a little nuts. Very long toes though, and flat feet when it comes to their hind legs. The front feet, at least when it comes to the overall reconstruction, they're not bad. They're actually pretty good, but they're very small. Um, just compared to the rest of the animal. So, Sauroposeidon has one of the longest necks compared to its body size of any species of sauropod dinosaur. This animal had a neck reaching over 39 feet in length. They're pushing 12 meters. One of the other contenders when it comes to at least the Brachiosaurid lineage of sauropod dinosaurs is the Giraffatitan, which inhabited Tanzania over in East Africa much earlier in time, back in the late Jurassic, around 153 million years ago. However, Giraffatitan, despite reaching somewhere around 75 to 85 or even 90 feet in length, or pushing over 30 meters, it only had a neck length of somewhere around 30 feet or 9 meters. Sora Poseidon also reached, it's a bit of a question, but probably over 30 to 35 tons. Now, this animal was also one of the last of its kind, it seems, at this point over in um, at least this part of the Cretaceous in North America. The Titanosauridae lineage of sauropod dinosaurs would still continue into the late Cretaceous. There would just be a lot less variety. Now, Sauroposeidon did have to be concerned with different species of theropod dinosaurs, especially when they were young, like the Deinonychus, which was the 220-pound raptor, or weighing in at somewhere around 100 kilograms, that roamed Texas, Colorado. Well, some of the only fossils of it have been found in Colorado, possibly Wyoming fragmentary specimens back in the early Cretaceous. Now, its main contemporary would be the Acrocanthosaurus, which is one of the only species of Carcharodontosaurs that inhabited North America during the early Cretaceous. So, Acrocanthosaurus was reaching somewhere around 39 feet or pushing 12 meters and probably weighed somewhere around 7 to maybe 8 tons. 8 tons would be pushing it for this carnivore, but still one of the largest species of carnivores to exist at this point. It was still before animals like Spinosaurus would evolve. Spinosaurus wouldn't really evolve for another 11 or 12 million years. And there were certain species of Spinosaurs that already evolved over in different parts of northern Africa, Europe, like Baryonyx and Suchomimus, but they were much smaller. And even tyrannosaurs that had evolved, such as Zhushang tyrannus, were still only somewhere around maybe 3 tons, which was massive for the time for the tyrannosaurs, but this was virtually the largest carnivore at this point. Also feeding on one of the largest species of sauropods. So, despite this animal having a very brachiosaurid-like skull structure, it seems to be a titanosauromorph. There are many cases with titanosauromorphs or even certain members of Titanosauridae that can have very brachiosaur-looking skull structures, which is odd. It's possible that Sauroposeidon in general could probably reach well over 100 feet, so pushing somewhere between 30 to 35 meters. Let's see. And I think the animal was officially named back in 2000. So, let's head back to the article. Oh, wait, is that it? Oh, okay. Well, let's head forward into the Cenozoic era. Let's see what's going on with these nutballs. Or, you know what? I'll take that away. What happened to Hammy the squirrel? IFLscience.com. In 2024, a routine observational study captured something nobody had ever seen before: California squirrels hunting and eating other mammals. This isn't necessarily new behavior with squirrels, but this seems to be where their feeding behavior has gone to a bit of an extreme. Yes, here we have our little fluffy friend from over the hedge, which is probably
Hammy the squirrel.
yes.
Okay, one more and I'll stop.
Yeah, we all felt concerned for him here.
Well, maybe it explains why he started eating meat.
Yeah, it could be. So let's see what happened. Well, here we have one carrying a rat. So, squirrels are famous for loving nuts, so all that digging, climbing, and dramatic nut dropping seems to make sense. But
Maybe
in
that has to do
California,
with what they're eating off of the animal.
they appear to have picked up a darker habit. Research from 2024 offers the first evidence that California ground squirrels can act as predators and meat eaters. With cameras, yeah, he's very concerned. With cameras capturing them hunting, killing, and eating voles. Oh, okay. So they're going after the voles. So apparently they're cooperating with the owls now. Granivorous is a term for animals that subsist on grain. Surprise, surprise. So I can call Italians granivorous, a name that was previously relevant to the California ground squirrel Otospermophilus bichai, but that seems to have changed. The long term behavioral ecology of California ground squirrels project has been conducting observational studies in Briones Regional Park in Contra Costa County for 12 years. But in 2024, they spotted something shocking. The ground squirrels share this habitat with voles, and in the 74 interactions observed between the two species, 42% involved the squirrels actively hunting the voles. Wow. Um, okay. Strange. Um, okay, well, I'm actually trying to think of an animal that really focuses on grains because obviously Italians eat fish. Let's see. What's something else? It's not hitting me at the moment. And cows prefer grass. Okay. In case you're hoping perhaps they were just playing squirrels love to run, or afraid to tell you that no, there really is no misinterpreting this behavior. Nothing drives home the message that something eats meat quite like watching it casually munch on a headless corpse. Now I think Hammy is a psychopath. There's going to be a lot of conspiracies now. Predatory, wait, casually munch on a headless corpse. So predatory ground squirrels were something that nobody on the team had witnessed before, so it must have been confusing for the first people to spot the behavior. A group of undergraduates, when they asked project co-lead Sonha Wild of UC Davis for clarification on what they'd seen, only to be told, "I'm not sure what you're referring to." Then they showed her the video. Yeah, we got issues now. Um, And also don't feed a squirrel shaving cream. I mean, not shaving, well, that either, but, whipping cream. Wow. Oh, okay. Well, here we go. Oh, it's a ground squirrel. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Oh, wow. Are they going to ambush it? So that's the vole. So it wasn't a rat, it was a vole. The 12th year of the long-term study on the behavioral ecology of California ground squirrels. He's tagged too. Oh, that's actually a bit further north than I was assuming. So we document the emergence and widespread occurrence of vole hunting in this primarily herbivorous species. Oh, wow. Well, there we go.
He's Are we sure that isn't Hammy?
Nope. I could barely believe my eyes. Wild, a postdoctoral research fellow in the UC Davis Environmental Science and Policy Department, said in a statement, "From then, we saw that behavior almost every day. Once we started looking, we saw it everywhere. Hunting, killing, and eating voles was seen being practiced by squirrels of all ages and sexes between June 10th and July 30th, 2024. It seemed the feasting festival really kicked off around the same time there was an explosion in vole numbers in the park, suggesting that it may be a response to the sudden uptick of delicious voles." Probably what was occurring is that they were going after maybe the youngsters, but I would also assume they were a lot smaller. I don't know when the vole birthing season is. So this was shocking. It's just that around early June is when you have a wide variety of herbivores, especially in the northern hemisphere. So different parts of North America, Europe, and Asia having young. So, and then some cases you have it where there's also a lot of breeding occurring, or it's a major time for reproduction or conception when it comes to a wide variety of different mammals, like bears, for instance. So let's see. This was shocking, said lead author Jennifer E. Smith, an associate professor of biology at UW Clare. We had never seen this behavior before, and especially since it seems like there's just a massive gauntlet of squirrels going after the voles. So, squirrels are one of the most familiar animals to people. We see them right outside our windows. Some do. We interact with them regularly. Yet, here's this never before encountered in science behavior that sheds light on the fact that there's so much more to learn about the natural history of the world around us. I would say with ground squirrels, this is definitely not very common for most people. Well, if you're referring to different parts of the United States, Canada, Europe, Japan, even Australia, this is quite interesting. So, a shocking turn of events for human scientists, but this kind of flexibility when it comes to dietary preferences may benefit the squirrels in navigating rapid changes in their habitat caused by human activity. Like raccoons and coyotes, they're known to be incredible opportunists, but it's not such good news when the opportunity they're seizing happens to be your head. Sorry, voles. Um, well, when it comes to raccoons and coyotes, they can be quite adaptive. California ground squirrels, they have the ability to have a wide range of different um, feeding preferences, but they can't exactly move to a different type of an ecosystem. They are quite restricted to specific, more semi arid regions. The same thing can occur with even rock squirrels, like in different areas of Utah. Some cases they can look kind of almost malnourished or just not a very, um, I'd say, like just good looking plumage, like with what you see in different species of squirrels in the different parts of the eastern US, especially like with red squirrels or the American red squirrel, certain gray squirrels, fox squirrels. I just think they overall look better. But I don't believe they're this carnivorous. This is quite shocking. Like this is approaching the um like grizzly bear in a way, um, carnivore percentage. Like when it comes to this part of the year, like late May, early June. Okay, now it's possible maybe he really is not the nut we thought he was a second ago. So he's just back to his normal hammy character. But anyway, where they're feeding on like different mule deer fawns or in certain areas elk fawns or moose calves as well. So this was really interesting to
He
see going
doesn't
on.
like what you're saying about him.
Yeah, he's concerned. I think he wants me to look into other squirrels and see about their carnivorous habits. It's like you need to see what's going on with everybody, which is probably true. So yeah, that Carcharodontosaur thing, we got to see what other very well preserved specimens there which have occurred, as well as these different squirrel species. And then that mysterious pliosaur. It was unfortunate that all they found was a part of the skull. Okay, so thanks for joining. And for Prehistoric to Present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guy Live Daily News. Happy International Pliosaur Day. And we're streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. And remember, nothing is better than all animals all the time.
I thought you were gonna say squirrels munching on other animal day.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but that just seemed too much.